abortion and the rights of life earlier with this one girl, and basically, why would it be such a problem to change? Why would it be such a problem to change the right to life after birth?
I'm sorry, I was interrupted slightly.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah, of
repeat
course.
that though? Yeah, just go ahead.
What?
No need to touch the mic. Just repeat the question. Yeah.
Why would it be such a problem to change the right to life after birth?
What do you mean by that?
Well, like, because if you're saying if right to life is before birth, then why can't we change the right to life after birth? It would cause all the problems of legalization of abortion and the arguments between them, and then also it plays into many factors.
I'm not tracking. Yeah. So change the right to life till after birth.
Yeah.
That's our current laws right now.
Then why would it be a right to life for an abortion? How could you make an argument against that if it's after birth?
No one's contesting that. Yeah. Our perspective is that it's a human being all the way through the cycle of development.
As a human being, all the way through the cycle, but you said right to life after birth. Like after birth. So why would it be
No,
murder?
but you're a human being before and after birth. That's our contention.
What? That doesn't make human
Well-
being right after.
Well, you're a human being regardless if you're born or not. If you are in utero at 2 months, you are still a human being.
Okay, and then also I think that legalization of abortion would be like highly beneficial because you can think about the cost of raising a child, bringing that child throughout, adoption, all of that like that, and then
Hold on, guys.
however the cost of abortion would be a lot less. And then even in this crowd, there are people like before where they're saying like hypocritical comments about keep it in your pants, do all that.
Which you should, yeah.
Yeah, still, yeah, like you should, but like you can't control. Just like you said, it's nature. You can't control millions of people who have lived like 50 years of life who are voting on these topics highly hypocritically.
Yeah, I'm not tracking totally what you're saying, but you said abortion is beneficial. I mean, we've had abortion legalized in this country for 60 years. Has it brought down crime? Has it been beneficial?
I mean, if you're comparing it to the cost of raising a kid and seeing people that are lives that...
I mean, I gotta be blunt, man. What you're saying is it's okay to murder a human being just because you might save some money. That is the argument you're making.
Well, I've also said that the right to life after birth, like people are okay to make their own choices. But like, you aren't
I'm
like...
not tracking what you mean by right to life after birth. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, why not?
Because you're not... I'm just not understanding what you're saying. Like...
Well, I'm saying that abortion should be legalized, and that
It
will
is,
cause these...
right. Abortion is legal in almost every state in the country.
Yeah, and because of these benefits, like it should be legalized. Like you shouldn't try to illegalize it.
Okay, I have a different position, obviously. So
Yeah.
when do you think human life begins?
Well, I said after birth. So after birth. It
Okay,
begins.
got it. I mean, that's an insane position. I mean, when a baby's at 34 weeks and responds to its mother's voice, has a heartbeat, has brain waves, its own DNA, and can empty its own bladder, of course that's a human life. I mean, self-evidently a human life.
Okay, I'd be able to compromise before that, and if it's...
You see how quickly, though, I have to point you out, though. See how quickly you can compromise? Like, oh, and actually, maybe it is a human at this level, and then at this level.
Why
and
is compromising such a problem?
Well, because you're admitting and acknowledging that maybe it is a human being, which goes to our entire argument. Human dignity goes all the way back to conception. So eventually we just march ourselves back on the timeline to its original point of creation.
But what about the benefits and non-benefits? Can you tell me about that for abortion?
The benefits?
Benefits and non-benefits, yes. Benefits,
Oh,
pros
I
and
mean,
cons.
like, let's play this out.
Pros and cons, yes.
So do you think that if a mother found out that she was going to have a low IQ child, she should be allowed to have an abortion?
If she has the choice, yes. She has the choice.
Do you think if a mom found out that she was having a girl but she wanted a boy, should she be able to have that abortion?
There are plenty of people that should have that
Yes
choice.
or no? Should that be legal? Should sex-selective abortions be legal? Yes or no?
Okay, I guess I don't have an objective...
He's pushing into eugenics. If you want to abort your baby and keep picking whatever man you want, you're a modernized eugenics, Aryan eugenics person. You're a racist because you're doing designer babies with a petri dish that's called your pussy. So essentially, what they want and what they establish is they're trying to have a bunch of women who want to play Aryan Nazism and just pick out the most attractive man with his attractive personality points in order to impregnate themselves with, which is why it's a creepy ideology of racism and white supremacy that the left pushes a lot of the times, because the abortion discussion falls into they just want a supremacist man and a man who's supreme compared to the inferior, weaker men. This is why they push essentially Darwinism through eugenics on a lot of leftist talking points, which I tried to address. But a lot of them hide it by saying they're sterilized or they don't plan on having children. And then they're like celebrities that hide their children anyway, and they have a secret family, and they're pretty much playing eugenics anyway. So the dynamic is simple. Do you have a right to kill a child that you think is going to end up ugly as an adult or is unlikable as an adult? Because that's still what you're practicing, or what you're understanding is the exterminationist ideology that if you're an ugly person, you're going to talk to them and tell them, if we had abortion, people like you wouldn't exist, right? So what you're pushing is that you don't want certain types of people you think they are worthy of getting rid of, which the Nazis spoke about when they talked about getting rid of Jewish people, which is why getting rid of Jewish people by extermination was something a lot of people talked about back in the day, and is why a lot of the discussion points which people have is so built upon just wanting a perfected child to be built into a perfected man or woman, that you're playing designer babies like Epstein's Island with the leftist ideology, because they just want to kill off any fetus that doesn't end up how they want it, which is now playing this designer ideology where they want to build them out perfectly. They try to use the excuse that is for money and resources, but a lot of the time they're just picking people out, which is why he asked, is it okay to abort a low IQ person? So if he says yes, he has to go to every low IQ person in existence and say, you don't deserve to exist. We should have the right to abort your kind of people. If you don't want women as a child, or a woman to grow into a child, you have the right to go up to that woman who used to be a child, of course, and then tell that woman she didn't deserve to exist. That if your parent wanted you a boy, you should not be here and you should be a man instead. Which is building upon their victimhood mindset that they pretend they're in the good moral side, but really they're on the bad side of morality. Because even though you want your fantasy land, we need to focus on a land that is more realistic. And the land that is more realistic is going to adhere to the programs and the systems that are more accepting toward what is naturally going to happen. This is why a lot of them have issues answering these questions. Now, how I would answer this question, I believe if you have the ability to see all these things inside of a person's womb and know if they'll be a low IQ, which they do, or they know they'll be a boy or a girl, which they do, that you have the decision to decide what you want to do with your body at any moment. Now, granted, that sounds like a cop out, but if you were told that a man must produce male sperm or female sperm, it wouldn't make sense in accordance to the mixture that had happened inside of the uterus. So, if technology advances to an extent where you can have a transsexual change inside of the womb so that the entire biology happened naturally to be switched, would that be acceptable? Well, I ask you this simple question. When was it in society that you ever had to be forced to do something that you couldn't just do with money anyway? So when you have this change and you have this ideology, the question really becomes, are you rich enough to get away with it? Because a lot of the times these people do it anyway, as proven with Epstein's Island, and proven with a lot of these rich, wealthy people who have 10, 20 different wives, that they all impregnate in some breeding fetish to get the most perfect woman pregnant, so they could at least have one or two random babies with like a CSGO case box, or like a casino slot machine where you get three women and you're trying to hit the trifecta of having three kids you like, and then throw away the other 20 and neglect them in life. I believe that the question is available to only the rich, because the rich can do this and still claim they are not killing anyone by just impregnating people and throwing those babies and those women away and while they survive on their own. And then you will just impregnate the beautiful women that you want. Now, the poor people don't have that luxury, so getting an abortion is the rather option of which they would choose. And in a society of capitalism, abandoning that woman and that child could lead to their death or living in an impoverished neighborhood, which increased crime could result in them dying, or low access to resources could result in them starving, or healthcare can result in them dying due to lack of access to medicine. So, when you do post birth abortion through exploitation of Darwinism, you are already throwing away these women and children in order to enact a superior species, which you are doing in accordance to your access to excess logistics and education that is the resource gain that you are allowed to access. Now, the other people that are poor don't have that resource access or education access, and so they are able to pick in a much more cheaper, affordable version which is supposed to be supported by government so that you're not mass producing people that the society as a whole has to raise or deal with as they grow up sad they don't have parents or sad or broken they are not in a perfect environment. Instead, they'll have a parent that actually wants them, cares for them, and loves them and invests their time into them, and therefore produces a better equation that can add up to a more positive end result or sum. I believe in freedom of choice. I believe your body, your choice. The same way a woman can go on a yacht and sleep with an ugly billionaire, you have the same right to sleep with a very attractive man because you feel like having his babies, or you feel like accepting the ugly bunny guy that's you let in and he has your children, and then everyone's like, why? Because it's your choice, because you allowed him to. So I believe this is more to do with freedom of will, which we all like to think we have, but I believe that when the law comes into order and restricts only the poor people while the rich can still have as many babies as they want, as many beautiful Instagram models are the most gorgeous women in office, and they could sleep with as many of them as possible, you can just have whoever you'd like. And then you throw away the ugly, which is just eugenics anyway through riches. So when you do it through poverty, you have the right to protect your future life and your future income in accordance to the same privileges they have at a much more affordable and accepting humane way through abortions.
Objective position on abortion, but you can't, like, if people can just lie to make up reasons anyways.
Again, it's actually against the law to do it. How about this? If you find out you're having a Down syndrome kid, should you be able to have an abortion based on that information?
I guess not, but that's not really against like the topic.
But your answer just changed from yes for low IQ, but not okay for Down syndrome. That's weird. Why did it change?
Okay, then I can just take it back, but like still like that's like not.
Again, I'm gonna get to the next question. It's respectful. You haven't thought very deeply
But
about
that's
this.
not the point of the topic. I was asking about the pros and cons, and then you asked me.
There
if
are
it's a
no
low
pro.
IQ.
Okay, what I'm getting at though, there are no pros to mass murder. Okay,
Why are there no pros to abortion?
because it's mass murder. It's like, were there pros to the Holocaust?
But the Holocaust and abortion is not even close to
You're
the
right.
same thing.
Abortion's been much worse in this country. A lot more babies died than died in the Holocaust. You're right.
Yeah, but there are also instances in life where a
How are
baby
they
should
different?
not
No,
be
like let's
born.
walk through it. How are they categorically different? Are they both human beings? Do they both have futures? Were they both made in the image of God? Do they all have souls? How are they different?
But how is the Holocaust and abortions different?
No, yeah, tell me. But were they both human? Were all the people that died in the abortion and Holocaust human beings? Did they both have futures that were deprived? Were they both made in the image of God? And did they both have souls? How are they different?
I guess if you put it like that, but that's just highly subjective.
No, it's not. It's objective. Okay, you have a lot more thinking to do. Thank you for your time.
All right, am I good? Perfect. All right, so basically, earlier you were talking to one of my lovely fellow students who had a beautiful rainbow top, and I love that. And you said,
Allow her to finish, please.
you need to be responsible for your own orgasms. Yes? Okay, with that being said, why is it that a lot of the times people with uteruses have to carry all the responsibility that comes with getting pregnant?
You mean women?
I think there are people. I didn't want to get into this topic.
You already
and I-
did. I mean, can you be a man with a uterus?
Yes. I didn't want to have the gender discussion with
This
you.
is what they teach here, guys. I'm telling you.
I didn't want to have the gender versus sex discussion.
Well,
I
you
wanted to
brought
have
it
a
upon
discussion
yourself.
about
That's
abortion.
fine. Okay, what is your contention?
Okay, so basically, why is it that people with uteruses have to carry all the responsibilities that come with having a pregnancy? Because this is true, but he just said you have to be responsible
Well,
for
hold
your
on.
own orgasms.
The law is very clear that if the father abandons, they own child support. So that's actually
How-
not clear.
Okay,
it's
but a
actually
lot
not
of the time
case.
it's like, there's like one night stands. There's the cases of like
Then
you just
stop
get
having
knocked out.
one night stands. Like, You don't have to have sex. It's not like a thing you need to do.
You said you had sex, and now you have to live with the consequences.
Yes.
So both people should have to live with the consequences.
Yes, and here I am with this radical idea that all of humanity embraced for like 2,000 years, which the best way to live is to get married and then have sex.
But
I know
that
it's
is
against
not the reality of our society at this time, and we all know this.
Well, exactly. But what is there anything stopping you from doing that?
No.
Self-control is a virtue that every kid should re-embrace.
Still happens outside of marriages.
Yes.
And you were saying that because you have to be responsible for your own orgasms, does that not mean that a male or the person who contributes the sperm, okay, a biological male,
contributes the sperm? So we're no longer. No, see, she said male, but then she said now we're just sperm donors. That's what we are now.
I'm just saying.
Do you see how like the trans thing, just like you don't never know what to say. It's just so comical, but yeah.
So, the person who is a biological male and contributes to that pregnancy, they don't have to live with those responsibilities just because they are not married. But that's not fair.
Yeah, that's nature.
But that's not fair, and you just said that you should be responsible for your own orgasms.
Okay, yeah, a lot in life is not fair. Women have to menstruate. I don't. Not fair. Okay? Also, there's things that men have to go through that women don't have to go through.
That males should have to contribute just as much to a female's pregnancy if she is going to carry said thing.
Fair. Let me hold you to that standard then. Time out. Therefore, if a woman is going to have an abortion, is it 50% the man's decision?
If we hold males to this responsibility, I believe that they should, at least be able to, have a say. But that is my personal opinion.
Or 20%?
In the end, it is a female's body, and they have the right to decide what they do with their body.
Okay, but to just to play that out, if the baby is a baby girl in there, doesn't that baby girl also have a right to decide to her own body?
We're still they can't even make decisions yet.
Exactly. So then isn't it best not to terminate them because they can't make decisions?
You're still not answering my question.
No,
How are we supposed to hold the person? Because you just said that pregnancy comes from two people, does it not? And you're supposed to be responsible for your own orgasm.
Yes, I know
correct?
how reproduction works. If your contention is that men should be held more accountable for impregnating women, yeah, of course, the law already reflects a lot of that. That's why child support decisions go 99% against men, okay? The law is way, way, way in the woman's favor. A lot of times it should be,
but
because
a lot of the times in one-night stands, that's just simply not the case.
Oh, okay, so what is the contention then? Then we must make it easier for one-night stands? I'm
trying to say I don't think it's fair that you are going out of your way to say that it's not okay that the person who has to carry that child.
But just understand how silly what you're saying. You're using the word fair, fair, fair. The utmost unfair thing is to...
You don't have to deal with the stigma.
No,
you don't have to deal with the bills.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. The most unfair thing imaginable is eliminating a life from being able to live and flourish. That's the most unfair thing. Murder is the most unfair thing at all. I mean, definitionally, that's unfair. You eliminate a life from being able to flourish. That's unfair.
As a person with a uterus, if I did get pregnant, I would not want to carry said pregnancy.
As a person with a prostate?
And I don't have sex, and that's not anybody's business, but
let me just, again, I don't want to ask about people's personal lives. I'm not that interested in that.
I'm saying if I'm put in an unfortunate situation, and a lot of the times there's there's borderline kind of rape, sexual assault, cases that does happen.
Less than half of 1% of all abortions are in that category.
You can say that, but also...
It's from the Guttmacher Institute, which is an abortion...
But what do we really know? Because a lot of the times, statistics, according to...
That's Planned Parenthood's own data, just so we're clear.
It wasn't Planned Parenthood,
It was the Guttmacher Institute, which is Planned Parenthood's research arm.
Okay, according to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, apparently about 1 in 5 women experiences
This is
rape.
Complete garbage. Just so
It is not.
Want me to prove it to you?
How is it not?
If you guys... If 1 in 5 women experience sexual assault or rape...
Yes.
Then we would have the same levels of rape as the Congo, okay? I want you to
Is that not possible?
No, it's not just impossible. It's pathologically insane to believe that 1 in 5 women, that we have third world levels of violence, sexual violence and rape.
So shouldn't we be doing something about that then?
No, meaning that the report...
I fail to see how you're discrediting something instead of just acknowledging that it could genuinely be true. Two things can be true at once.
It's not even close to being, just so we're clear, it's 1 in 5,000. It's not 1 in 5, okay? No, the idea that 1 in 5 women are raped or sexually assaulted in this country has been so disproven. In fact, they
Says
say, well,
who?
well, let me prove it to you.
Because we have
So, no,
lots of stats, and
let-
this
let
is
me-
actually
let
on
me
the
prove it to you.
lower end. I've heard
Okay.
higher stats.
They
This is
say-
on the lower end.
Let me prove it to you. If they say college campuses are rape culture because 1 in 4, 1 or 5 women get raped. If that's the case, why would women ever go to college campuses? Why would
because
parents?
they want an education.
No, hold on. It's more dangerous than going into the Democratic Republic of Congo. I mean, the point is that it's so materially insane to think that 1 in 5 American women will be raped in their life.
It is. I agree.
No, meaning that they're lying about being raped, that they're lying about being sexually
You
assaulted.
believe that people
That-
lie about being See,
all
this is
the
actually
time.
this feeds into what I was
All the
saying.
time.
This feeds into
Like
what I was
Brett
saying.
Kavanaugh
actually.
had 11 fake accusers. One guy, 11 fake accusers.
This feeds into what I was
Again,
saying. Do you know why a lot of people probably don't report their sexual assaults and rapes?
Well, because there's a lot
they're
in the
not
gray.
believed.
There's a lot in the gray area. Alcohol's involved. It was consensual, and then it wasn't consensual. The girl
Consent
was
can be removed at any time.
okay. Again, now we're getting into murky gray area stuff, right? Where if you have two, like a fraternity guy and a sorority girl at age 19 hooking up, both 5 drinks in at 2 a.m., and all of a sudden she like removes consent. Yeah, like that's a murky middle gray area. And excuse me when
She
I say.
still removed consent, did she not?
Okay, but again, the
If he continues to go onward with that encounter,
Again,
then he is sexually assaulting her.
again, that is such an unfair categorization. Like
No,
again,
it's not.
it's very case dependent. But like almost every one of these cases involve a lot of alcohol and a lot of forgetfulness and a
But
lot
what about
of
other ones that don't?
and a lot of late
there's
reporting.
cases of marriage rape, and like people don't report those
Okay.
because of how much stigma there is. People don't.
Okay,
They don't want
I'm not
to.
doubting that rape happens. I'm contesting
But I'm
this
saying
ridiculous,
that
outrageous
if you
statistic.
should get pregnant from these cases, and you said you believe that people should be able to get abortions in
No, I
cases
don't.
of rape.
No, actually, I
yes,
said
you did.
I said
yes,
let
you
me
did.
say. I said I actually don't believe that. I said let me, for the argument's sake, say that. But I actually don't believe
I
that.
thought you said that. You don't.
No, of course
You don't.
not. Because let me tell you
You
what.
would make somebody carry their rapist
If
child.
I have 2 ultrasounds, I have an ultrasound here of a baby conceived in rape, an ultrasound of a baby from a loving marriage. Which one is which? Which
Wait,
one is which?
Wait. You would make.
Make the baby live, yes.
You would make someone carry their rapist child.
Yes.
Do you know how insane that is?
Oh, you know what it's like? How it's saying? It's like, you know what? I would make it so I can't murder my cameraman. You know how insane that is?
That wasn't even a pregnancy that they consented to. That isn't even something they consented to in
But
the
again,
first place, and you would make them carry that. It's
hu-
not even.
human rights are not dependent on the
their
method of
rights
conception.
To their body.
Human
taken
rights
two
are not-
times.
human
two times.
rights-
They have to carry that child,
human
and they were
rights-
violated in the first place.
Human
Do you know how
rights,
insane that is?
And then you're going to do a third wrong because of 2 evils. When does that always morally
what if
defensible?
you don't want the child? And like
Just because you don't want a human being doesn't mean you get
didn't
to
even
murder
get
that
to
human
have.
being.
But your argument was based on don't have sex. You can't
Yes, and
control
again-
if you are raped.
Again,
You
that is
can't control.
It is not murder to get an abortion. I believe in abortion. I believe in the right to choose who you're reproducing with and whose child you have. If someone rapes you, you have a million percent, if not more, reason to abort that child. I don't believe there is this ideology of you being this horrible human for not having that child. I believe the person that even comes out of that situation, if asked if their wife was raped, would you make your wife have the child of the rapist? You would be very pro-abortion. They're trying to attach to a person's life in order to get a living human to feel bad about being alive, in order to get them thinking about themselves instead of the woman. The woman was raped. They should not have that child. I don't think that's that hard. I believe there are probably plenty of people who came from products of rape and were given birth to, who later on they grew on their family and grew on the people that they love and therefore became people that were worthy of love and respect. But I believe if you're in that moment when it just happened and you can have that chance to prevent that very existence from happening, I do not blame you for getting that abortion. That is not a murder. Calling a rape victim a murderer for getting an abortion is disgusting. I believe that is morally abhorrent. And proof that a lot of these men are losing their ground on what it means to be a good person, because a lot of these women just want that sweetheart guy that always wants to be so morally superior that their morals themselves guide them to have a raped baby into them, to which the baby will come out and then they'll say, don't worry, we'll raise them like it's their own, in order to have this woman be in a situation that she could later be guilted on, to accept that child as her own and then guilt her into saying you were going to kill this person, in order to imprison her in the mindset that these are just good morals when they are in fact false. I believe that if you have someone who is a woman and she decides on her own to get rid of that child, then she has that right to get rid of that child, because that child is not a toddler getting thrown into a cavern of wolves. It is a fetus of cells that is getting aborted, an equation of pain and suffering that would end in a potential, not a guarantee, of a bad result where that child now has to be told they're disgusting, or the mother rejects the child altogether, and that child might even end up in a horrible situation, which they would say that's just a bad mother, or a mother that never was meant to be a mom because she was raped. Not everyone's going to be a good mother or a good father. They don't know how to approach a situation. They just wanted to exist and have a great time. And now they're raped into being forced into a lot more responsibility and a lot more accountability. It's not fair to the woman who is raped. You are not a murderer if you have an abortion after being raped. That is guilt tripping you off some weird Christian evangelicalism that is forcing you to have someone's child purely on a book that came from 2,000 years ago, when the human population was arguably about 2,000 per 200 miles. They were trying to preserve the extinction that they didn't, or to preserve the prosperity to avoid extinction. But in a world of 7 billion human beings, I think we can afford someone who knows calculus versus another person who could know calculus later on, and just abort the one that knows calculus. And calculus is a reference to the trajectory of that human life that you can just discern is just someone that's just going to add to a warehouse, add to a postal service plant, or even add to a coder's cubicle that was going to have a family, sure, but that family itself might not even have that option, because they might themselves, before they have a family, might have their wife raped, and now they're in the position where they're getting the abortion, which if you force that person to not get the abortion, the husband dies, he loses his chance to spread his bloodline because he decided the rapist had a superior bloodline to rape his woman and prevent him from having a child before he's deployed to war, dies of heart disease, or dies from natural causes. And then a Christian will say that's God's plan. That's a perversion of God's plan, because God's plan is scientific. You have the illusion of freedom of will, which allows you to pick to which what to happen. You can pick your baby over the rapist baby or the rapist's baby, and you will have that right continuously. And you can choose to keep the baby. Choice. Marry someone who doesn't want to have the rapist baby, or marry someone that, no matter what, even if it means getting rid of your bloodline, she would rather have the rapist child rather than yours. Pick your people appropriately, like they tell us. Pick your people appropriately. Find a conservative woman that believes in that, and don't force a woman to believe in what you believe in so that she's forced in a horrible, horrific nightmare situation.
That, and you
That
know
is
that.
99.9% of the time, that is the case. Less than half of 1% of the time, it's still a question of human rights and human dignity, of which that human being deserves rights. Let me ask you a question. Somebody in this audience was conceived and raped. Do you know who?
No.
Because they're just as much a human being as we are.
That
you don't
wasn't
get
the
special
argument
rights.
I was making.
Because everybody deserves the right to life, regardless of how horrific or evil your method of conception is. I'm not justifying rape. I think rapists should go to jail for the rest of their life, maybe get the death
But
penalty,
you still
and
think
get castration.
that their victims
But guess
should
what?
have to carry the child that they did not want.
I don't believe in giving the death penalty to an unborn baby because of what the rapist did. That in no way is morally defensible to say we should end a human life.
I don't know how it's morally defensible that you think it's okay to,
because
first off,
life is special and beautiful
but you're
regardless.
taking away the person's right who has their body violated in the
You
first
don't
place
have a
to make a
right.
decision about
You-
what they
you
want to
do
do
not have a
from
right.
there.
Again,
that's two crimes on one. Like
Do you agree that murder is wrong?
I do, yes.
Okay, then we should stop murdering unborn babies.
I think it should be up to the person who has to carry the child.
Okay, again, That's not morally defensible in any category. Can I murder my 3-month-old because it's out of the womb?
No.
What makes it different than if it's out of the womb or in the womb? How is it more or less a human being?
That's still not the argument I'm trying to make.
No, it is. It absolutely is. The standard must apply equally to all human agency and action. We are talking about morals.
Right,
So
but you just said that they deserve the right to have their choice, right? Like that child deserves the right to be able to live.
Yes.
But you're also taking away the mother's choice.
Oh, no, yeah, you do not have the right to kill another person.
Right,
That
but
is
you're
not a
taking
right
the
that
mother's
you have.
choice about what she wants to do with her life.
You never had
Right.
that choice. You never had a right to kill another human being. That's what I'm saying. Fundamentally, the pro-life argument is at the core, you do not have the right to take another human life.
So you're like radically pro-life, as in
Yes.
like no matter who,
Because I
even in
believe-
cases of incest,
Yes.
in cases of
Yes. All
Right.
all human life is special, made in the image of God, and we are called here to protect all life, regardless of the
but
method
you're
of
not
conception.
protecting the person
All
who
life.
has to carry that child. That's a double standard.
But she still lives. She lives after birth.
What quality of life?
Okay,
it's
again,
not even her fault that
is,
she got
just
pregnant.
to be clear, that
and
is
now
eugenics.
you have to have her
that moral
her entire
standard,
life changed because
that-
of something she didn't even
that-
choose in the first place.
That moral standard is eugenics. If you say that you should be able to eliminate other human beings because it makes your life difficult, we could just kill millions of poor kids because a lot of moms are saying my life is difficult because of them. It is not a moral standard that can be applied to any other dimension. Thank you for your time. I have to get to another question.
We currently live in a society that believes in killing poor people by forcing them into homelessness if they can't find a job. His argument is null and void by the dynamic that we currently live in a capitalist mode where people can be pushed into complete poverty, thrown away, and no one would ever care for them as they hold out a cardboard box cutout telling them they need money or a job in order to survive because no one wants to hire them and they are seen as inferior or a lesser person and therefore unworthy of the respect or love of having a career or a house over their head or any means to take care of themselves and are thrown away into extermination. We live in that society right now, so you don't have to participate in this ideology through abortion. Then you still have to participate in the one of white supremacy, where you throw away black, brown, and white people in accordance to your supreme genetics you believe in, and throw away ugly white people, throw away the ugly black and brown, and then keep anyone you fetishize in the black and brown communities, and then anyone you deem as a superior or an ubermensch in the white society, which is going to then be built upon racist eugenics once again, in accordance to money. And then that money and resource can then gain you your perfect child, gain you your perfect wife, and then gain you your perfect career, which again is opportunistic, capitalistic, and exploitative of the natural order, which is why when people get thrown into homelessness, it is disgusting and it is wrong.
Thank you. Lakers.
Yeah, yeah. My brother-in-law's dad played for them, so we like him a little. Okay, so I know you're a Christ follower, and you were kind of ending your last topic with the death penalty. I don't think there is a justifiable biblical verse section in context where you could justify the death penalty.
I mean, you do know it's the only verse repeated, the only law repeated in all 5 books of the Torah. You know the 5 books of the Torah?
Yeah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and then Deuteronomy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The only law that's repeated in all 5 books is that you shall give the death penalty if you take a life. So why do you know better than God?
Okay, that's great.
That's not man.
Yeah.
God said, if a life is taken, you shall take the life. So why is your opinion above God's own teaching to his people?
Yeah. My argument for that would be that is the old covenant. So the new covenant would be by grace you have been saved. So the same way God has given us grace, and that you should also put that on somebody else.
So there are 3 types of Old Testament laws. There's civil, ceremonial, and moral.
Yes.
We get rid of the ceremonial. We consider very high of the civil, and we live under the moral.
Yeah.
The civil, though, is repeated 5 times in all 5 books. And just to be clear, if someone takes a life, why should they continue to be able to live and breathe while their victim does not? Universal human equality actually shows that in honoring of the victim, that the perp who took a human life made in the image of God should not be able to continue to live. We honor the victim by giving the death penalty to the perp. Otherwise, you're saying that the perp gets something the victim does not have, which is life.
Totally. I do understand that. I feel like you would take other examples, like Paul's ministry, for example. Murdered thousands and thousands of Christians, yet turned his life around. Why did we not end his life? I would argue, by the grace of God, he was able to start a ministry, proclaim the gospel of Jesus.
And he eventually did get the death penalty, ironically.
Yes, ironically, but that's obviously...
And so did James
that was
and
against
Thomas.
the Romans, yeah.
And I'm not even, I mean, they didn't deserve the death penalty for what they did. I'm talking very simply. Death penalty for taking another life. And the argument is that it's in defense of the victim. It's honoring human equality for the victim. That victim no longer has life. That victim no longer is able to experience it. Why should the person who took the life be able to say it? It's actually dehumanizing to the victim. It's saying that, like, you get to keep on enjoying life in a prison cell or just being in a prison cell where the other person's life was taken. Again, when we look at a law that was so important, it's the only law that was repeated in all 5 books of the Torah. The only one.
Yeah.
Not honoring the Sabbath, not honoring your parents, not even putting God first. The only law that made an appearance in all 5 books was that you shall take a life if a life is taken. Seems pretty important to me.
I would say that, but I would also say grace is administered in every single book of the Bible in some context.
Yes,
and so my argument, though, would be, wouldn't that be the old law? That's the old law. How
Again,
do you
that's civil. So civil we want to take seriously.
Is that like Old Testament to New
Yes,
Testament?
again, ceremonial we dismiss. Civil we take seriously, moral we live under, right? So those are the 3 types of the 613 laws of Judaism. So ceremonial, we don't have to honor the feast, we don't have to pray with a thing on our, on our hand, or we don't have to eat kosher fruit, we don't have to, not eat shellfish. I love shrimp, I'm sure you do too, right? Bacon is great, whatever, right? But I guess the question would be, what do you think is an adequate punishment for a murderer?
I would say you would show more grace by putting him in prison. And my argument for that would be, there's so many, there's millions of criminals all over the world that come to Christ in prison.
Yeah, I don't think that, though, our laws need to necessarily always be destined towards grace. We should pursue justice on our laws first and foremost, because justice should be blind. Individually, we should show grace. Like, if that guy's on death row, we should go and try to minister the gospel to him, and so that he can give his life to Jesus.
Yeah.
But the law should be a teacher towards Christ. And it says in Leviticus 19 that the law should not show favor to the rich or to the poor. That's where we get that idea of universal human equality or blind justice.
Everyone is for Christ.
And I get it. I actually, so there's closed-hand issues and there's open-hand issues in Christianity. Closed-hand issue is the Trinity of Christ, the resurrection of Christ our Lord. On Sunday we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. Praise God.
Amen.
And then there are open-hand issues.
Yeah.
Open-hand issues are like eschatology.
Yeah.
Is the
Women
Eucharist
preaching,
Eucharist
stuff like that,
transubstantiation?
Yeah.
Should women be pastors, right?
sure.
And death penalty. I put death penalty on there.
Cool.
So in the book of Colossians, it says that the ordinances of Moses were nailed to the cross.
Yes.
And
Right
so the
above.
ordinances, right? So we think about that. That is definitely like ceremonial law, but the civil law we should take very seriously. And I would just kind of go one final point. I find it ironic, not you, that some people will push so hard for the rights and the dignity of a murderer on death row, but are so indifferent to the life of that of the unborn. They flip it, and they say, but Charlie, how could you possibly be pro-life for the baby in there, but not pro-life for the murderer? I think that's so self-evidently silly. The murderer obviously did something heinous and awful and took another life, where the baby in the womb did nothing wrong except merely exist, right?
Yeah.
2 totally different moral categories.
Do you think that Old Testament law, obviously, by God, like he is before and after, right? And so for us to understand who he is, by having that law in the
His
beginning,
character, yes.
By having that law in the beginning, it was to for us to understand his grace, his power, his mercy, and it's everlasting. And so I would say that was in the beginning. I wouldn't say, obviously, I wouldn't say I'm a master in this.
No, it's fine. And
yeah.
the best argument against me, against my position, because I know all the arguments pro and con, is that why didn't God give the death penalty the first murderer, Cain? That's the best argument against me, right? The best argument for me is God repeated it 5 times, and when he explained it, basically, in the verses we know, is that human life is so sacred, it's so precious to God, that when a life is taken innocently, that it says that the ground cries out and shrieks. It's all the future generations that never were to be. That the only severity of the punishment to honor that God's own beautiful creation has taken is to say that you no longer get to have life if you take life away. Like you don't get to have that privilege.
Who is you to condemn that person?
Exactly. So there's no easy answer to it. But the final thought I'll just kind of say in this is that there are some crimes so heinous and so awful that I have come to the conclusion of the death penalty. The argument against the death penalty as well in the modern context, it takes too long. Sometimes we execute the wrong guy. It's more expensive. I will concede all of those points. But you cannot come to me from a moral standpoint, forget a practical standpoint, and say that if you take a life, you should be able to keep on living. I find that to be an insult to God's promise that we're all made in the image of God.
So then what do you say for eye for an eye?
Well, in some ways,
Christ is against
I think
that.
that's an individual teaching. However, it's a great point. You could actually extrapolate the eye for the eye as a great moral accomplishment of the Old Testament. So it seemed as if eye for an eye is a very primitive teaching, right? Like, oh, that's just kind of revenge. What it was saying, though, is that a rich person's eye is not greater than a poor person's eye, or that the Pharaoh's eye is not greater than the slave's eye. It's actually this idea of universal human equality that was applied over all of the species, which was an amazing moral breakthrough that actually was against the tribalism of the time. I don't know how to answer that. Jesus said, turn the other cheek and don't say eye for the eye.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Jesus would want murderers to walk free? I don't think so.
I think imprisonment for sure. 'Cause
Yeah.
You said you are under the law of the government as well. You said
And
you're
there are
following
really good Christians that are against the death penalty, really good Christians that are for the death penalty.
sure.
The only thing I ever ask is that if you're against the death penalty, 1% of your advocacy should be for those on death row, and 99% of your advocacy be for the unborn that are scheduled to be on death row in abortion
Cool.
clinics.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you
thanks,
for your
Tyler.
time, man.
Yeah,
God
for
bless
sure.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Who wants some hats, everybody?
Okay. Dude, yeah.
All right.
Hey. My name is Lucy. I'm a student here at Boise State University, and I'm in nursing school. Recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a repeal or rollback on Medicaid in Idaho, which is going to cause thousands of people to lose their access to coverage within the next 2 years. And it's going to have untold effects on our entire community. And I was just wondering if you could take a couple seconds to listen to what sorts of effects that'll have. So within the nursing population, way more people, because of the fact that they're losing access to Medicaid, are going to rely on emergency services, which means that the influx of people going into the ER and ED is going to significantly increase. This is going to contribute to nursing burnout, which means that all of you guys, when you guys go to the ER, will receive a decreased quality of care, which will significantly impact this entire population. And in addition to that, sorry, I'm a little nervy. In addition to that,
That's okay. So I don't know enough about it to debate or comment on it. Let me ask you, though, in your best possible way, can you make the argument as to why, as if you were going to win an award if you could do it the best way, why did they vote to cut it?
they voted to cut it in order to allocate more tax refunds to the 1% and to, I don't know, whatever Trump's agenda is. And honestly, I'm just here.
Is this a federal ban or is this a state ban on?
This is a state ban right now.
So then, okay, how would be Trump's agenda then? Okay.
Because House Republicans, who were appointed by him and elected by his supporters, were the ones who passed this bill.
Okay, but if they were appointed by him, they wouldn't be. So is this in the Idaho State House?
Yes.
Okay. So again, I don't know enough about it. If somebody does, they can come up to the mic and defend what happened there. But thank you for coming up to the mic and informing us about this.
All right.
Thank you. I don't know. I know what I know and I know what I don't know, and so I don't know enough about that to engage in it. So thank
All
you.
right. And can I just say one more thing?
Okay.
Your statement about the fact that 1 in 5,000 women are raped is
It's like an
completely-
approximation. But yeah.
Okay, so can I just say that that's like not even remotely close to true? Like,
Okay, so
that
what
is
number
an
would you say?
insane
What would you say the
thing
number is
to
then?
say 1 in 5.
Okay, so so let's play this. I just want to make sure everyone understands the profundity of this. So we're a country of about 350 million people, right? Which means that more or less half of the population. Actually, it's more women than men, right? That means there's 170 million women in this country, right? So 1 in 5 means that about 40 million women have been raped in this country. Is that your position?
Yes.
Okay. I just find it's like so far out of reality that 40 million women have been raped.
I know that it's a little bit of a hard concept to grasp for people like you, but like, you know, I fear that who are in positions like that. Like, not even on this college campus. Like, thousands of children are subjected to that sort of abuse. Thousands and thousands of young women, old women, all women
Well, we're talking about,
are
wait.
subjected to some sort of sexual abuse.
Okay, but
And
again,
I'm just saying, I don't really want to debate this topic to you, but I just want you to know that is a wildly disrespectful stance to take.
I'm sorry, I
Have a
will
good
die
day.
on the hill that 40 million American women have not been raped. I'm sorry, that's insane. It's just not true, okay? And also, what it does, I have to say something else. You want to know why men are going to the right? You want to know why men are becoming conservative? They're told that 1 in 5 women have sexual encounters that result in rape. We as men know that's a bunch of rubbish and a bunch of BS, and we're tired of being called rapists at every turn, and we're tired of being categorized for something that we are not. And it creates dissension, it creates division, and it is bad for men and it is bad for women to say that 40 million American women have been raped. I just want to understand, that number is more than the population, basically, of California. The whole population of California has been raped. That's our position now. Next question. Hello. You brought a sign up.
I'm sorry?
Did you bring a sign up?
Yeah, I did, but... So my name is Eric. I'm 70 years old. I've been a born-again evangelical Christian for 35 plus years.
Praise God.
Worship here in the Valley with a bunch of... I was on worship teams in the Valley for quite a few churches. But the Holy Spirit brought me here today to prove you wrong. Okay, and so what the Holy Spirit has led me to do is to try to explain to you that I don't think you're a good, godly man. Okay, wait. And this is why. Because what a godly man does, a good godly man does, is stand up for people. He stands up for people. He stands up and even fights for people, okay? And I don't believe you stand up and fight for people. Yeah, you use your mouth and all these kids, you're good at all these kids. And I didn't think you were going to
Are they people?
Yeah, they're people.
Do I
but
fight
still.
for them? And how dare you say that after I just shared the gospel to nearly 2,000 people here at Boise State University?
Because there's a difference between someone who just shares the gospel and someone who's a godly man. I can explain the difference to you right now.
Okay, tell the world why I am not a godly man.
Because you only stand for people who are white,
Use
Christian,
evidence.
and male. You've got...
Where's my brother up here?
You've
Where's
got-
my man? Look at him. You got to come up here. Come up here. Come up here. Come up here. Get over the gate. Come over the gate. Look at this guy here. Look at this. Yeah. Right up to the mic.
You stand for me, we good.
Wait, I only stand up for white. What, is that a white man? Can you look at him, please? Look at him.
So what he just did was textbook tokenism, where he brings out a black person, says, how can I be racist? I have black people on my side. This is literally what I'm talking about when I say they cash out in currency, because they use people to protect themselves. Now, if Charlie Kirk was accused of rape, he'll bring someone out and probably have them accuse someone of rape, just to prove that someone can make something up. And then they'll say something like it's for comedic and entertainment purposes to avoid charges, because that's something a lot of rapists who attacked me used. And they lie about that because they're creepy, weird people. Because a lot of these people use any token they can to hide behind in order to escape accountability and charges. This is why I keep telling people about white supremacy can be diverse. This is a black man. This man can fight for white supremacy and be black because he wants to fit in with white people who are traditionally Christian evangelical and Christian Protestant aligned, which is oftentimes Eurocentric or European. This is why a lot of the people oftentimes use black people like a summon card, which he literally did. He jumped over the fence, proud as any day, to present himself like a token or someone who wants to submit to a white man, which traditionally was known as slavery, which is why a lot of the times this is the real racism you're going to have to see and fight, because every time you accuse someone of racism, they're going to bring out their black friend. Maybe they make YouTube channels, maybe they don't. Every time you accuse someone of being a creep or weirdo, they're going to bring out their friends that are going to defend them and show them, oh, well, at least I have friends, and then attack you on your individualism. They're going to use any tactic they can in order to solidify their base, to call someone else a loser, a outcast, and someone no one should listen to, which is an old school white supremacist tactic that a lot of people on the left still use, because they like to use the I have a black friend, which you can see right here was summoned from the crowd of sea of white people to get the one black person proud to say they are on the side of white supremacy, without saying supremacy, by saying, I just love Charlie Kirk, which is something a lot of leftists use in order to escape racial accusations with their white leaderships, which is why a lot of their white leaderships sleep with black or brown women in order to avoid racial accusations. This is why it's oftentimes known as tokenism. And this is, again, I am in support of interrace relationships. I am in support of people having diverse friends. But when you only call on your black friend right after someone calls you racist, that's tokenism. This is why, again, a lot of these people grow up just to be a little a pet to people like white men, because he literally did not say that. I know this guy. He said, if you're black, come here. And that's a call. Like you call your dog, come here, come here. Which is, again, a dehumanizing aspect. Not the calling them a pet, but them responding in such a submissive way. They just stand there. And now what you're about to see is how they use people of color in order to defend their racial accusations.
Is that a white man? Is that a white man? You said I only stand up for white men. He's got dreads.
Are you?
You see how he's there? He's happy, yeah, and he's even grabbed his hair. Someone who wants to show themselves like a theater, like someone presented on stage. It's why a lot of these white men get really proud when they get a large following, because a lot of these people who integrate into these white neighborhoods would oftentimes integrate in accordance to what is the majority racist ideology, which is a white man's, and they'll submit to a white man's because they are trying to push the agenda that if Noah's Ark was filled with white people, all you have to do is side with the white man, and you get on Noah's Ark, everyone's jumping on Noah's Ark and pretending like they're not, racist. And then everyone else who says you're not a real black person drowns in the water. This is why oftentimes in order to escape poverty, escape homelessness, you have to find a master to attach to in order to avoid poverty. It's just how the system works.
But you just libeled me in front of 2,000 people saying I only stand up for white men, and I got a brother in Christ right here. How dare you say something like that?
I'm ready to. If you quit messing around, I'll prove it to you right now.
Messing around, bringing up a person of color's messing around.
Yeah,
Isn't that your whole shtick?
Are you ready? Okay.
Are you ready?
So, yeah, I'm ready. So the Holy Spirit specifically brought me here, because this is the Idaho, this is the Old West, right? The Holy Spirit brought me here to challenge you to a gentleman's fist fight right here in front of this whole crowd. Now look, listen.
No.
Wait.
I would hate to hospitalize you in front of 2,000 people.
But see, the difference is, I'm a 70-year-old man. I haven't been in a fight in like 60 years. However,
Does a godly man come up here and
Does a godly man challenge another to a duel?
Does a godly
Yes.
man come up here and threaten someone?
okay, so hold on. I'm serious about this. Can I speak? All right, so look, I'm telling you, I'm not up here just fighting for me. The Lord has come up to me to ask for fight for people that you diss all the time, like women,
The Lord brought him here to speak to you.
women, gay people, trans people, immigrants, people of color, people of different religions,
My man.
immigrants, refugees. So look, seriously, I'm serious. You can have your goons, they can search me. I'll sign a waiver. I'll let you take the first punch. Let's go. Put up or shut up, Charlie Kirk.
You know
Put
what?
up or shut
So,
up.
first of all, it says very clearly in the Bible that we shouldn't harm those that are worthy of protection, and you obviously are.
You're just worried I'll kick your
on Medicare age. But let's play this out. Despite the obvious fact, and you and I both know who would win this duel. However,
well, then
hold on a second. This is a great embodiment of the American left. You can't debate, so you want to go to blows. You can't. The only thing that is preventing us from this country from going to civil war is debate and dialogue, and you don't even want to have debate. You want to go and you want to wrestle like a 7-year-old. Who here is actually dividing the country?
No.
So
a gentleman's fist fight. You know what that is, right?
Again, I would like to think that we are elevated above trying to go have a fight in the streets or a fight in front of 2,000 people. In fact, a mark of civilization is that we don't have to go to blows or bullets, that we can have discourse and debate, but yet you're inviting that.
And you know that out here in the West, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, really? You don't debate out in the West?
Real men stand up for what they believe.
You guys don't dialogue in the West?
Come on, man. Look, I know.
How about this? Why don't you, since you're a 70-year-old aged elder and you want to have a fist fight with a 31-year-old?
Is that how old you are?
Why don't you tell me what a woman is?
See, I am not here to debate you. I'm here to prove you wrong. Prove you wrong. Prove him wrong. So either put up or shut up. I'll walk away. You tell me right now.
I will say this. I will say this. I'm not going to fight you because I don't have to. Because you know why?
You don't have to.
You are acting as if someone who is very desperate, who is clout chasing, and we won an election. We are going to remain peaceful while the left promotes violence. We are going to be the peace because, as Christ our Lord said, blessed are the peacemakers, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Thank you, sir, and get out of here.
You're a coward, dude. Anytime.
Oh, my man right here. What's your name?
My name is Jaden Melton.
I love this guy. Just tell us a little about yourself. Just wanted to honor you. You've been great in the crowd.
Yeah, man. I've been good. I'm from California originally, but lived in Idaho for about 10 years now. Man, I love it out here. It's awesome out here. I'm a man of faith myself, so everything you've been preaching has been awesome. I really respect you a lot for that. Thank you so much.
Praise the Lord.
And before you leave today, if we could all pray together before.
I would love that.
If we could please pray for us.
Why don't you do a short prayer right now? Just cover the place in prayer. Why don't you do that?
Dear Lord, thank you today for gathering all these like-minded people and all these amazing people at one spot to where we can all have a real discussion and be open to hearing your word. And it's amazing to see that there's so many people of faith that love your word and want to hear more about you. And I hope that everybody can open their minds and their hearts to that idea and that you can touch every single person here in this crowd today. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, man. God bless you. Thank you.
I'm gonna change topics a little bit.
Whatever you'd like, my friend.
Okay. My friend, he can't be here. He's from back home, but he wanted me to get your opinion on some things. Trump, I'm a big fan. He's trying to do a lot of things. Make America great. But do you believe Trump's views on Gaza are serious? Like how his process is?
On Gaza?
Yeah, like.
Oh, I don't know if it's serious. I do think he wants to make Gaza a better place. I mean, it's terrible what's happened there. Objectively awful.
And do you believe that aligns up with the America First movement?
Yes and no. I mean, I believe in America first, but not America only.
Okay.
I prefer less foreign involvement, not more.
Okay, so if you were to prioritize one, would you prioritize? We're obviously going to prioritize our immigration problem before Trump goes.
Without even not even a question.
All right, that's all I had. You think I get a hat?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks, man.
Man, you can throw that hat darn well.
Yes, sir.
Charlie, I'm actually from BYU, Idaho. I'm not from Boise State, but if you want a friendly crowd, that's a conservative school up there at BYU, Idaho. But
I like it pretty good here at Boise State, though. It's pretty.
So, I happen to be a liberal, but I love Trump. I think he's doing a great job morally. I just have a couple concerns. along the lines of tax. Trump has flirted with the idea of getting rid of the IRS and abolishing the federal income tax. He's flirted with it, not saying he'll do it. But a lot of people think that tax is to generate revenue for the government. That's what tariffs are for. But tax is to incentivize private investment into the economy. That's why we have tax write-offs. That's why you go to a CPA or a tax advisor or that kind of thing. So my question is, if we abolish the federal tax, then what incentives will a tariff give to invest in the private economy of America? That's my question. Or are we already morally good enough to invest? That's just my question.
I mean, a tariff, in order to not pay a tariff, you make your good here. So if you're Toyota, Hyundai, if you make your good or service in America and employ American jobs and American labor, you avoid the tariff. So abolishing the federal income tax would be a phenomenal incentive to make more investment come to America.
Okay, and you're saying like just bringing the companies to America.
Yes.
I'm saying like, okay, never mind. You answered my question. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. God bless.
Oh, Charlie, can you photobomb us? Yes! Okay.
Great. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, so I want to talk about abortion, but before I start, is it possible to not talk about God or religion? Because I'm not religious.
Yes, but I mean, we will talk about morality.
Okay.
Where do you get your morality from?
I don't know, like my parents, I would say.
Your parents.
Life
So,
experience.
well, I don't know your parents, so how are we going to agree on morality if I don't know your parents?
I don't know. Can I say it and then see what you think?
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes twins in the uterus, one twin absorbs the other. So when that twin that absorbed it is born, would you consider that twin, that child, that baby a murderer?
Oh, of course not. No, I mean, that's, no.
But that baby technically killed its
No, it
sibling.
didn't. What you're talking about, it happens the first couple days of human development, where the two zygotes one might absorb the other. It's not taking out an axe and slitting the throat of the other.
But I still don't believe that abortion is murder.
Okay, did the twin use human agency to eliminate another human life?
No.
Then it's not murder. But therefore, during abortion, one human being uses human agency to kill its young. Can you point to another mammal, another part of the animal kingdom, that goes out of its way to kill its young just because their life might be hard?
No, but I still believe that abortion should be legal.
When does human life begin?
I would say when it's born.
Okay, so
Okay, so how
so when it's born. So therefore, if a pregnant woman was walking here on campus and she was murdered, the person who murdered that pregnant woman, should they be guilty of a single homicide or a double homicide? Let her answer the question.
I do believe double if that woman wanted to keep that baby and have that baby.
But hold on, just help me understand this. How can life be so, like, just loosely defined that it's all on the intent on the mom, whether or not that's a human? So your human distinction is wholly dependent on whether or not a mom wants to keep you?
It depends on how the mother feels about her baby, yes. If she doesn't want it, then she should have the right to have an abortion.
No, but we're talking about something different. Is it not objectively a human life if that pregnant mom is all of a sudden a victim of a homicide?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, but then if it's objectively a human life when it's a homicide, how is it not objectively a human life when that is in an abortion clinic?
Because it's not what the mother wanted. She doesn't want to have that kid.
Do you have a right to murder another human being?
No, but abortion isn't murder.
Okay, but then fine. Define murder.
The taking of another life.
Let her finish, for God's sakes, please.
It's taking another life, like, in the world. Like, once the baby's out, that's when it counts as murder. Like, if you killed a baby, that's murder. But killing a fetus isn't murder.
What species is the fetus?
Human.
Then how is it not murder?
Because it hasn't been born yet.
Why does that make it human?
Because that's when, like, it's not dependent on the mom, and it can be, like, its own thing.
So that's exactly right. If you have a pacemaker, you're dependent. If you have a ventilator, you're dependent. Babies are in NICU units, neonatal intensive care units, they're dependent. Dependency does not equal its degree of moral worth. And so I need to understand the moral consistency. Here is a baby at 31 weeks that can survive outside of the womb. It has its own brain waves, its own consciousness, its own heartbeat, its own ability to clean its bladder. How is that not a human being? It just happens to be in a mom.
Because it hasn't come out yet. It's still living in the mom. It's still part of the mom.
Right, but it's living. It has a heart. If it's not living, how does it have a heartbeat?
It's living through the mom.
Okay, but so my 1 week old when he was born was living through me and my mom because we had to feed it food.
Well, that's not the same thing, because a fetus is like a parasite. It lives off the mom.
Wait, so just to be clear, were you once a parasite?
Technically, yeah.
You think babies are parasites?
Fetuses.
Right, but a fetus literally is just a word for a human being. It's a stage of development.
Before it's born.
Right, but have you ever been to a fetus shower? Why do they call it a baby shower, not a fetus shower?
Well, yes, it's a baby, but it depends on what the mother wants.
Oh, so it is a baby, not a fetus. Got it. So, but if it's a baby, then shouldn't we not kill babies? Pretty simple moral principle.
It's different when it's inside the mother's body. Because it depends on what the mother wants, what the parents want. If they don't want to have that
It's
kid,
attached to an umbilical cord, but how is it any morally different than when it's right outside of the womb? That baby can't hunt or gather. It can't go get a job. It can't go to the grocery store. It's wholly dependent on external forces to survive.
But that's not the same as like needing to be inside the mother to survive.
But why is that any morally different? Just because you're attached to an umbilical cord, why is it any different? Why is that less of a human being? And by the way, there are babies right now, as I mentioned, that need pacemakers and ventilators. Are they not human beings because they need a lot of machines to survive? They're attached to other machines. Are they not humans?
Yeah, but I think that like the mother doesn't have a choice. You know, it is like making the baby, like giving it nutrients and everything.
Let's try to find. So you would say that you want the mom to be able to have choice over her body.
Yes.
Got it. So does the baby have any, does the baby's body matter?
To me, no.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. Since you are, resolutely in favor of choice, do you think it should be legal or allowed if a mom wants to have an abortion if the kid has Down syndrome?
Okay.
It's a yes or no question.
Can I say my answer and then explain it? Okay, I think that mothers should have the choice to have an abortion no matter what the reason is. But if the reason is like they have Down syndrome or they're going to be autistic, then that woman shouldn't have been a mother in the first place. Because
hold on. If I got to close this out. If a mom is pregnant and she finds out she's having a girl and she wants a boy, is that an okay reason to have an abortion? To abort a girl because you want a boy?
I wouldn't say it's an okay reason.
Should it be
but
legal?
She can, yes.
So then how is your view of abortion any different than customizing a Ford Explorer to your liking?
Because it affects other living beings.
Well, yes.
Like the mother.
Why should the mother be able to have all the rights and the baby have none of the rights just because the mother is older? And wasn't that mother once a fetus herself, given the opportunity for life? And isn't part of the social compact passing down that I was once in utero for 9 months and then I will usher another in utero for 9 months? That is the cycle and circle of life that compassion lives on.
It's different because, as the fetus, you're not contributing to society or the world. You're not a part of the world yet.
I mean, kids don't contribute much until they're 23, okay? I mean, honestly, let me ask you a provocative question. Are kids at Boise State whose parents are paying for their school, are they parasites?
No.
The parents are paying for their tuition. The parents are paying for their credit card bills. They're wholly dependent on that of another. How are they any morally different than that of an unborn baby in the womb?
Because they could still survive without their parents. Maybe they'd be homeless, but the fetus needs to be inside the mother and taking nutrients.
Up to 22 weeks, that is not the case. I guess, so you think that it's okay, morally fine, to have abortion for any circumstance under any matters, skin color, eye color, whatever it might be, we can terminate it. How is that belief system any different than eugenics?
I don't think it should be like there should be a specific yes reason, no reason. I think women should just be able to have an abortion if they feel like that's what's right for their body and their family.
Exactly. Feel. So if a woman feels like her 6-month-old is crying too much outside of the womb, can she kill that baby?
No, because it's not.
It's still a human. How is the 6-month-old any different than when it was in the womb? How is it? Is it a different species? What has changed?
It doesn't have life on its own.
Yes, in the womb it actually does. All that was just has the umbilical cord attached. At 22 weeks, the baby can survive outside of the womb.
Okay, then I will say that abortions should be allowed then up until 22 weeks.
Okay, we have some agreement then, right? But then understand that if we had this prove me wrong 10 years ago, I would have said babies can live up to 26 weeks. But now technology got so good, now it's 22 weeks. So all of a sudden, like a human being becomes more human 4 weeks earlier just because technology advances? Wrong answer. Human beings does not become more human just because we get better technology. It's always been a human being. So one day if we all of a sudden say, we can grow a human being, literally not in a womb, we can just grow it in a laboratory, then no abortion should ever be necessary. The point being is that it's a human regardless of how good our tech is, because it doesn't change species. At 14 weeks, it doesn't all of a sudden become from a crocodile to a human. It's a human being throughout.
But it's still in the mother. The mother should have the choice
Location
over her
of a human does not dictate its moral worth. You don't get more human rights if you're outside of the womb or in the womb, or if you're in Boise or if you're in Pocatello. Your location does not determine your moral worth. Thank you for your time. I got to get to the next question. Thank you.
Hey, Charlie. Thank you for coming here to BSU today. I thank you for the opportunity for discussion. I really appreciate it. My question is about Ukraine. So I voted for Trump, and I wish I voted for Kamala. Reason being is that Kamala said that Trump would surrender Ukraine. And at the time, I thought she was stupid. I thought she was playing it up, and I thought she was inarticulate. And now I realize that she's correct. So Trump, I believe we need to be supporting Ukraine. We need to support them because our European allies are our trading partners. Average day Americans, we consume consumer goods that are part of a global supply chain. We need to protect Europe, and Putin has made it clear that he wants to reconstitute the Soviet Union by conquering Ukraine. And if we don't stop him at Ukraine, I think he'll probably continue to other countries.
So you voted for Kamala and you voted for Trump, you're regretting it. Are you thankful Trump has secured our own border? That we actually have a border?
Sure, I like the immigration stuff.
So, just to be clear, that you're unhappier about a foreign conflict than our own country no longer being invaded?
Yeah, but I told you why. It's because...
No, I just want to be clear. It's just kind of your regret is based in like him not supporting a foreign country enough?
I don't think immigration is that big of an issue.
Oh, wow. So 14 million people coming in your country in 4 years is not that big of an issue?
I don't know if that statistic is correct,
no, it's true.
First of all.
It's 10 to 4. It's at least 10 million. So let's just say 10 million.
Yeah.
10 million people in 4 years is not a big deal. It's certainly bigger than like a foreign country's government.
Well, the problem is I look around and I've known Mexican friends who have even been illegal, and they have been really good friends. They've been, right?
Yeah, we're not even talking about Mexican. I mean, just to be clear, less than 5% of the people came across the border from Mexico.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, from Nicaragua, Guatemala, Venezuela, over 120 countries represented.
Sure.
So just before we talk about Ukraine, when you voted, you vote more for, like, foreign interests than American interests.
No, I vote for the economy, like trade, global trade. I think global trade should be secured.
Okay, so what does success look like in Ukraine?
Well, we need to be supporting them more.
What is more?
We shouldn't.
How much money have we spent there?
I don't know.
Guess.
Probably billions.
Guess.
I've heard like hundreds of billions.
Yeah, 250 billion. Is that too much, enough, or do we need to do more?
I don't know, but I don't think that's. We need more. Sorry.
Oh, we need more. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's very wrong. Obviously.
Okay.
While our own country's collapsing and disintegrating, and we're $36 trillion in debt, to say we need to send more money to a foreign country, especially Ukraine.
Is it a substantial portion of our budget?
Yeah, I mean 250 billion's a fair amount.
Well, we spend like trillions of dollars.
So that's 1/4 of our defense budget is sent to Ukraine. 1/4.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That seems like one of the primary interests at the time. I mean, do you think we shouldn't support Israel?
Well, first of all, we don't give Israel $250 billion. Number two, I think we send them too much money in this last package. I have to be very pro-Israel, but
Okay.
it's not even close to the amount of money we sent to Ukraine.
Sure.
But however, going back to like your fundamental question, we need to send them more aid.
Yeah.
Do you think Crimea should be Ukraine or Russia's?
Well, they're never getting Crimea back.
Okay, so you're realistic, but
Yeah.
why not? I mean, you want to help out Ukraine. So what part of Ukraine?
If we could get Crimea back, yeah, I think so.
What part of Ukraine are you all of a sudden comfortable with ending the war?
The territorial, we could secede territory. That's not the concern in the Ukraine war. The concern in the Ukraine war is that they're going to destabilize Ukraine politically and try to install a Russian leader. That's why in 2014, when they ousted the guy who's leading the country at the time got
first of
ousted,
all-
that's why they invaded.
First of all, we did that. The American CIA was behind the Maidan revolution. in
We
2014.
ousted him from the country?
Oh yeah, no, we were behind the Maidan student protests in 2014.
I mean, if we did, that's a good thing. That's why Russia, Ukraine, to be clear, because
No, it was a
because
really-
we
it was
because
a super bad thing.
because Ukraine was starting to align with
I think it
U.S.
was
interests. That's why.
Luchenko or whatever his name was.
Yeah,
was
sure.
actually very, very prudent. Okay, yeah, we're very far off, and we're going to disagree on this. But you actually think that Kamala Harris and her view on Ukraine was better for America?
I mean, she would have been doing what Biden was doing, which was being more not ridiculing the Ukrainian leader in the press room or whatever, right?
Oh, you mean Zelensky, who didn't have like the courtesy to have a polite posture towards the president?
Well, to be clear, Vance and Trump, they absolutely did not know what they were talking about, and so he had to correct them because they thought that the war started in 2015 when it was actually 2014. And when he started correcting them, they interrupted him and they were rude to him, right?
No, Zelensky was rude to Trump and
Do you
to
think?
Vance,
Do
but
you
I
think
don't
they
want to
should?
get. I don't want to get into. I mean, that's just.
Do you think they should have let the reporter talk about his suit? Would you not have like a world leader here ridiculing
I mean, look,
Zelensky on
there's
his suit?
so
Do
many
you
different
think-
directions I could go here. So when was the last time Zelensky held an election?
He's
quite a
in
while.
the middle of a war.
So
he has
was
to declare
Abraham
martial
Lincoln,
law.
and he held two elections.
The
So-
Constitution
so was
says
Churchill.
he should not hold elections
So was
because they would
Churchill.
install
Hold
a
on.
Russian dictator.
So was Churchill, and he held elections. Wait a second. Wait. So if the elections would elect a Russian, maybe it's because Ukraine is mostly Russian, and they're-
Well, the concern is that
like, aren't we
the
over meddling in
Ukrainians
this?
the Ukrainians wouldn't vote for a Russian, but the concern is that whoever they might get in is not going to be. I mean, I don't know why I have to explain this, right? We had a
No, I want to understand why. Like, why is Russia you think is such a threat to the United States?
because after Ukraine, they're going to destroy our trade interests in the regions. First of all,
Do you think they'll like roll tanks into Berlin next?
no, because they don't border Berlin, but maybe Poland or maybe Estonia or Lithuania, Latvia.
You think Putin would attack a NATO country?
Yeah, if you continue
No,
this.
of course not. I mean, you know that's not true. It would invoke Article 5, and we would have troops on the ground. Putin won't do that.
I mean, it depends on
Secondly-
what Trump is doing, right?
Secondly, but you are against Trump's supposed peace deal to end the slaughter of the Ukrainians.
He doesn't have a peace deal. He doesn't even
Well-
have security guarantees.
Well,
do you think
that's not
Zelensky
true.
should agree to?
Steve Witkoff just came back from a meeting, and he said we finally have a criteria for permanent peace between Russia and Ukraine. So here are the options, just to be
Okay.
clear. Option A is we keep the war going. That means another 1 million people will die, and we spend about $500 billion. Option B is we broker peace, and it's a muddied deal for everyone. Ukraine loses a little bit, Russia loses a little bit, but the war is over, and we can focus our interests and our money elsewhere. Which one do you think is better for America?
For America?
Yes, which option?
For
Option
Ukraine
A?
to keep fighting. It protects our interests in the region. And first
I
of all,
mean,
I don't know
how could you-
why are you taking
getting-
all the agency away from Ukraine and Russia? These are the people in the region who are fighting each other.
the
You're
average-
saying
hold on.
the U.S. can determine that they'll have peace.
First of all, Ukraine will not survive without American armaments, period. They don't have any agency. It's fully subsidized and supported by the American taxpayer. The average conscript in the Ukrainian military is 47 years old.
Yeah, they're fighting for their country. They're being invaded.
Yeah,
They're being raped and invaded in their countries.
Do you know why it's 47? Because all of the military-age men have fled the country.
Sure.
And also, so many young men have died
Sure.
in Ukraine. It's no longer a country. It is a sad.
Way more have died in Russia, to be clear.
Well, I find that really hard to believe. I think Ukraine has suffered way more losses than Russia.
No, the
but-
casualty is way disproportionate. Way more Russians have died than Ukrainian.
Okay, I don't know if that's true.
That's absolutely true. There's like 3-to-1 Ukrainians and Russians. Do you think they would be
Okay,
holding
but
up the borders
again, that's not
at this rate?
That's actually not what I was going to say.
If they
but
weren't dying
I want to be clear. So
disproportionately?
you want to see the war continue? To what end?
Because the Ukrainians want to keep fighting. They think it's in
Okay.
their interest. That's why
Yes,
they're fighting
I
right now,
understand.
or else they would coup the
you
supposed dictator.
There's a lot of blood lost that people get in wars. It's up for a third party like America who's financing the war. It's our missiles, it's our push, it's our armaments, it's our CIA that is pushing that war forward. It's up for us to say no more. It's not in the best interest of America for us to further antagonize Russia. For us to
We're not antagonizing them.
We
To
are
be clear-
sending American missiles into the interior of Russia. How is that not antagonizing?
Yeah, we're selling them just like in Gaza, or do you think we shouldn't sell Ukraine weapons?
No, we should end all weapons supplies to Ukraine.
What
we should
about
end this
Israel?
war completely.
Should we not sell them? Should we not sell Israel?
Israel's a
weapons?
separate case, largely because the Palestinian Authority doesn't have nuclear weapons.
Okay, to be clear, you're talking about you think a third party settles the conflict. That's like
In
your
this
theory.
case-
That's your working. No, not in this.
Well-
in World War II, Germany, the Nazis didn't
not
just
every-
stop. The
not-
Nazis didn't stop just because
First of all,
they weren't going to
first of
stop
all,
unless the U.S. invaded.
Putin
right?
is not the Nazis, number one.
Well, he's a dictator.
Well, so is Zelensky. Okay.
Zelensky is not a. Zelensky is a dictator in the strict sense.
Zelensky
that,
doesn't
yes,
hold elections.
If the Constitution.
Again, let me finish.
Sure.
Zelensky doesn't hold elections. Zelensky imprisons his political opponents. Zelensky has shut down Russian Orthodox churches. He's a dictator. Putin's a dictator. They're both bad guys. But I wanted to make sure we're clear.
Yeah.
To keep the war going as Biden would, while you'd send all that money where we have so many problems here domestically. I just want you to make that case to this audience that a continuation of a no-win bloody conflict war in a country that most of us will never visit is in the best interest of the American people.
Okay, to be clear, Biden was not ensuring the war continued. He was helping Ukraine. It's up to the Ukrainians whether they want peace or not. If the Ukrainians are getting capitulated, if Kyiv was actually taken instead of they just got close, then the Ukrainians would have surrendered, right? It's up to the Ukrainians how much they want to fight. But Biden was supporting them. But Trump, he is surrendering Ukraine. He's the one who is actually surrendering and bringing...
I look at it differently. You know what he's doing? He's bringing resolution to a no-win conflict where we spend $250 billion that we don't have between two actors that are not really great, and also to not antagonize the Russian Federation. Why do we hate Russia so much? Has Russia sent drugs into this country and killed our youth? No. China and the cartels have. Has China declared war on America? Has China killed our kids? No. Like, we should not hate Russia nearly as much as we do.
Sure.
Was it wrong for Putin to invade Ukraine? Of course it was. However, to have moral clarity to say, let's stop it. Blessed are the peacemakers. You lose some land, you gain some land. End this brutal conflict, because under your perspective, another 1 million people are going to unnecessarily die. It's a
Right.
big lift. And for what? If 1 million people are going to die, we better have a pretty darn good reason.
For the future of Ukraine and for our interests in the region. That's
to be
why
able
they'll die.
to just be clear, to maybe win back 100 miles.
It's not about territory. It's about a stable government in Ukraine, a stable future.
Territory is the only thing left debating. That's it. It's the only thing left on the table. The only thing left is where are the lines going to be drawn?
Well,
the Russian-speaking people, the Donetsk region, or all the way up to Kiev. That's literally the three options. All the way up to Kiev is probably generous. They'll have to cut the middle. Will Zelensky take the deal? I don't know. And I'll close with this because we're over time.
Sure.
It will be a tragedy for us as Americans to keep on financing a war like this, a tragedy where it's no win, there's no resolution. I think we have blood on our hands if we keep on doing that. You have to.
The Ukraine war overall logistically has been lost. In terms of human numbers has been lost. In terms of understanding how big their landmass is versus what they're facing has been lost. We cannot sustain that, except for the continuation funding of it would lead to the extermination of a whole entire race of Slavic white people who are just going to end up getting set as an example as why you don't oppose a Russian army that's as big as that is. They don't have enough ammo. They don't have enough armored vehicles. They are militarily defeated. They cannot win. They are just fighting on the premise of hoping that one day Russia will realize that what it did was disgusting, or realize it's just not worth the bloodshed to begin with. We are funding their death. That is still true to this day. It's not the best war to support. They had to turn to nationalism to survive it because the liberals in America lost their attention there. And then they just handed over 50% their minerals in order to just sustain the production of their ammunition. And now they're just dying slowly. It's not a good war to support. We should have pushed for a peace deal off the bat, given them some land, and maybe tried to push really hard in some joint defenses. So maybe they won't join NATO, but a couple guys run in, and if you strike there, it's also an attack on American troops. Maybe something like that, or work a deal out with Russia so Russia just relaxes. It was very dumb not to give Russia some sort of deal. I would have given them a bunch of money to get them to stop. Because I know it's a monetary gain. I know they see the number of how much they can get out that land, and they would rather take the check. But now we took the check out of death, out of destruction, out of the military deal, and we made money out of bloodshed. And now, even if Ukraine falls, we don't really care because we now address it as part of Russia, and we made money out of it at least. I think it's cruel. I think it's America profiting off of war like it always has.
Have a very clear understanding of what success looks like. It can't be an abstraction. We should try to bring the Russians closer to us, not push them away. That is a nuclear armed power that could be very helpful in countering communist China. And so you say that you, like Joe Biden or Kamala would have done, better. Are there any other issues you think Trump has done well since he's been president?
Done well?
Yeah.
Trump has done well? Or do you want me to ask
because you say you regret your vote.
You want me to know what he's done poorly or well? You want me to make a concession?
I'm asking, is there anything else you think that Trump has done well since he's been president?
It's honestly kind of hard.
Not really.
Of course, the border stuff, shutting down the border, was good, I think. Like, not a bunch of people spilling into the country, right?
No, I agree. And I'll just, again, what we believe is that our own border matters a lot more than the Ukrainian border. And that is a perspective held by millions of people.
It is our border. It's part of our hegemonic influence.
No.
They're our trading partners.
Ukraine is not our border.
Well, it's like
NATO is not America.
It's part of our soft power.
Now you've revealed yourself. That is a globalist, internationalist.
What have I revealed myself as?
You've revealed yourself as thinking that the America experiment is one of an empire, not of one of a nation, that we create colonies, when in reality we want to reconstitute America as first and foremost a country, which is a people and a home, and we are neighbors to one another, not conquering distant lands. You say, well, it is our border. No, everybody, our border is not
It's not our
Ukraine.
border, but it's part of our hegemonic influence, a part of our soft power. They're our trading partners.
Which is an abstraction that many of us, quite honestly, could not care less while we're actually being invaded.
Just like in World War II when the Nazis were doing whatever they wanted in Europe, right?
Not everything can be compared to World War II. Putin is not Nazi Germany. Putin is not Adolf Hitler. This is a completely different circumstance with different dimensions. Not everything can be compared.
He's an actual dictator who we should not support. We should sanction him, and we should support Ukraine.
Mohammed bin Salman is a dictator in Saudi Arabia. The Iranian Ayatollah is a dictator. Xi Jinping is a dictator.
But at least they represent our interests.
There's a lot of, Iran does not represent our interests.
No, like Arabia does in the region, right?
Yes and no. Again, our interests, and I have to close. I know everyone's getting antsy. Our interest is an abstract term. What you're talking about is the CIA's interests or the neoconservative interests. Our interests should be to the homeland, not to a foreign nation. Thank you for your
Based. Okay, thank you for watching. This has been just one of the reviews I'm going to do with Charlie Kirk. A lot of people have been repeating a lot of his talking points. So I'm going to have to really break down what exactly they support in him. I don't see it yet. It looks like it's just a lot of Christian Protestant ideology. It looks like he tries to do a lot of baiting and pulling people out of their talking points. A lot of ridicule, but with doing respect, and this is why you guys are vulgar. A lot of conservative civilization, telling you you're a bad person without getting too shocked back, like saying parasite, or you want to kill people, or rewording everything into looking like the ill morality comes from the other side and not you yourself, by using the idea of what I call disgusting mercy, which is one of the things I always told people about. Christians are one of the people that fight with disgusting mercy, where they're so merciful and they're so kind that they make you want to kill them. Which is why a lot of them oftentimes turn into people that are disgusting, because when you show mercy, it turns into what they call disgusting, because when you do it to me, I do it to you. You start to see what you look like. You judge yourself. You're supposed to fix yourself. But if you don't fix yourself, you just attack. And eventually, the person who is trying to show you what you look like stops. And you are the person just attacking relentlessly against someone who's showing you mercy. Winding you up, so to speak. And whenever you try to show them better morality or better tomorrow, they say, if you're such a nice person, where are your people? And then, of course, they force you into an ideology of the right wing, because eventually you push right wing propaganda by pushing that everyone on the left is going to be intolerable to anyone who is merciful or kind, and then therefore leaves you with a bunch of sour, angry, mentally ill leftists that aren't going to be able to cope with the reality of anyone having mercy being a right winger, which of course I'm a leftist. I believe in the mercy. I believe in the science. I believe every mental illness has a scientific cure. I believe every single problem has a solution. I believe everything can be done through logistical, mathematical genius, and that we can accomplish any goal through a mathematical coefficient and variable of which can detect the trajectory of which we can conquer. The issue, of course, is that it's riddled with dumb people. It is riddled with people who hate being smart. It is riddled with people who prove their degrees mean nothing, and it is riddled with people who constantly take the side of white men and ignore the accomplishments of black and brown people because we won't submit and be loyal to a bunch of racist, fascist, leftists. This is why the left has infighting. This is why the left technically lost against a convicted rapist, because a lot of the people will go, "Why'd you say technically?" I said he's a rapist. Technically, because a lot of people make excuses for him. But if you go to the left side, you'll see a lot of people who want to cause problems where there are none. This is why the left fails. A lot of these people that go on the right wing and start to fight on the right wing oftentimes have to prove that they're smart people by just getting a leftist to speak. And they don't have to do much after that. Don't forget to like and subscribe.